Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you to the City of Titusville City Council Special Recognitions and Presentations Meeting. I'm going to call this meeting to order. We are going to have a moment of silence for our invocation, please. Thank you very much. Can you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, City Clerk.
Yes, sir. This is a city council meeting to hear special recognitions and presentations. Council will not take formal action on the agenda items. All individuals wishing to speak may do so under petitions and requests. No sign-up card is required. Citizens will be given 3 minutes to speak. All sign-up cards and exhibits being submitted to City Council shall be placed in the box on the table.
Thank you very much, City Clerk. City Manager.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The first item on the agenda is a Titusville Community Service Award. The City of Titusville established this award to honor Reverend Harry R. Lee for the outstanding long-term contributions to our community. Reverend Lee served the community as city chaplain, employee assistance advisor, chaplain of Sertoma, and chaplain of the Titusville Area Chamber of Commerce. By his spirit, works, and actions, he personified the concept of unity and the spirit of service in the community. He set an example of community service and encouraged unity and discouraged disunity. This award is to be presented to a resident of the North Brevard community, judged by a select committee, which is appointed for the particular purpose of conveying this award, to have made the most important contribution towards community service and unity. Chairperson Sharon James of the 2025 Titusville Community Service Award Select Committee will present the 2025 Titusville Community Service Award.
Thank you, City Manager.
Can you push the button on your thing? Big button. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager. Good evening, Mayor, Council, and all the guests that are present. My name is Sharon James. I have had the honor of being chosen chair for this very serious award. I'd like to now share with you how some of the other members of the committee was established. Our committee consisted of a clergy representative, which was Dennis Taylor, appointed by Mayor Connors, a vice chair, Tom Perez, who was appointed by District 1 County Commissioner Barry Russell, School Board District 1, and Chase Green, appointed by the Chamber of Commerce. We are here this afternoon to honor a citizen from our community who was nominated for the 2025 Community Service Award. This is serious. This is special. This is an honor. Let's look at the background for the award. This award was first named after Harry R. Lee Unity Award. As you will look to the back of the chamber on the wall, you will see these words written. It says, in honor of Reverend Lee's spirit, words and actions that personify the concept of service and unity in the Titusville community, and setting the example for discouraging disunity. That's a nice word. That's a goal we all have. And all the applicants that were submitted, we took these standards very serious as we looked over many of the qualified applicants. I always add my words to speeches. In 2001, the award was redefined. I'm gonna put my glasses on. Wow. Redefined and renamed the Titusville Community Service Award, still in the memory and honor of Reverend Harry R. Lee, to recognize citizens for service, just not unity. It's a combination of both. The city's desire for this award is to perpetuate and encourage the example set by Reverend Lee. Award information is sent yearly to numerous areas of organizations for their nominations. Nominations are not restricted to persons residing within the city limits of Titusville, but rather that their service benefits the citizens of Titusville. Today, we are pleased to recognize the recipient of the Titusville Community Service Award. Although every individual's efforts are exemplary, the committee had to make a very difficult selection from the nominees as to whom they believe best reflects the spirit of the community service and unity through their actions. The winner of the 2025 Community Service Award is Jessie Kirk. She was nominated by Micah Nix and Pam Avery. Micah Nix shared that for a long time, as he could remember. Jessie Kirk had been dedicated to serving others throughout the Titusville community. She was very active with numerous charities and groups, and many of us didn't even know how many things she did quietly, especially groups that served the needs of women and children. She was on the board of directors for the Jess Parrish Memorial Hospital Foundation and advocated for better health and care for all. Her selfishness and her generosity knew no bounds. That I witnessed, and so did many others witness. Jessie embodied the helping spirit and was truly a force for good in our community. It would truly honor her memory to receive this award and help ensure that her legacy of caring for her community lives on. Jessie was the epitome of compassion. Jessie was the epitome of compassion and generosity. And I'll say that again, and generosity. We should all strive to follow her example. There's a lot of pages here. Pam Avery shared that Jessie Kirk served for many years on the Jess Parrish Medical Foundation Board, offering not only generous family support, but also her time, heart, and her talents to better the lives of people throughout Brevard County. Ms. Jessie Kirk was a dedicated board member of the Friends of the Children's Advocacy Center of Brevard for over 17 years. This nonprofit supports abused and neglected children across Brevard County. If you could only know how many are here in Titusville. She was the only member, not just a name on the board. She showed up. She was the only member constantly who was present for the planting of pinwheel campaigns. This is a public awareness effort held every year at local schools and businesses. So next year, when Jessie isn't present and pinwheels are being planted in front of your business, outside your home, throughout the city, think about carrying her legacy and come help plant. She once reached out to a young couple facing a terminal illness, not to fix anything, but simply to listen. She came to listen, not to bring pocketbooks, not to bring list of this is what I would do, but to listen. That was her way. Her quiet compassion, her kind, knowing eyes that made you feel you were seen and heard. Jessie just didn't serve this community. She nurtured it. There's a difference. With every check written, every event attended, every kind gesture that she shared, she left a mark that cannot be measured. Her talents, her grace, and her beautiful spirit will be deeply missed, but never forgotten. She will never leave my heart or mine, and I'm sure many of you, because she went far and above what was ever asked of anyone. Thank you, Jessie, for your heart of service. We are now proudly going to ask some members of Jessie's family to come forward to receive the awards. Okay, let's turn around and let's face all these wonderful people, okay? Mayor, if you could come on in and be part of that presentation, thank you. Oh, get in here. There you go. You gotta count on the phone.
That was a good camera change.
That was a good one. Thank you.
There you go. Thank you.
Look over.
The only reason she's never won this award in the past is because she served quietly and most of the time on the selection committee. Because she was the one that when everybody asked who is the leader of community service, everybody went to her for guidance. So for many, many years, she served on that committee. And I think it's befitting that she be honored here today. So thank you so much. Jessie's memory will live on forever. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Love all of you. Thank you for sharing her with us.
Thank you, Ms. Sharon. City Manager.
Sir, the next item is 4B, a proclamation for National Suicide Prevention Month. And Mayor Connors will present a proclamation recognizing September 2025 as National Suicide Prevention Month. And we have a representative from the Space Coast Health Foundation of Brevard will accept that proclamation. Official proclamation, City of Titusville, Florida. whereas September is designated as National Suicide Prevention Month as recognized by the National Association of Mental Illness, and whereas many local, state, and national health officials and community leaders understand that mental illness is a significant issue of concern, particularly among our youth, and whereas addressing mental health issues requires more open and honest discussions about mental health, and whereas one major hurdle is removing the stigma attached to mental health treatment and discussion, and whereas individuals, businesses, organizations, public officials, and many others recognize the importance of emotional health, and now, therefore, I, Andrew Connors, by the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Titusville, hereby proclaim September 2025 as National Suicide Prevention Month in the city of Titusville, and I encourage all citizens to encourage those with mental health issues to seek help of a family member, friend, colleague, and/or a licensed mental health professional to assist them in times of need. Signed, Andrew Connors, Mayor. Moving on to 4C is a proclamation for National Service Dog Month. And Mayor Connors will present a proclamation recognizing September 2025 as National Service Dog Month. And we have Ms. Stephanie Olive from Canine Companions will accept that proclamation. Official proclamation, City of Titusville, Florida. Whereas Canine Companions believes in the joyful, transformative power of the human-canine bond and the inclusivity of all citizens, and whereas in the United States, 70 million adults have a disability and only 16,000 service dogs from accredited training programs exist nationwide, and the need is growing. And whereas Canine Companions created the service dog for people with physical disabilities 50 years ago in 1975, creating a new kind of support for disability. And whereas they are a nonprofit organization that enhances the lives of people with disabilities by providing expertly trained service dogs and ongoing support to ensure the quality partnerships free of charge. And whereas Canine Companions and their service dogs empower people with disabilities to lead life with greater independence by providing best-in-class training, ongoing follow-up services, and a deeply committed community of support. And whereas National Service Dog Month aims to educate our community about the benefits of service dogs and the laws protecting their handlers. Now, therefore, I, Andrew Connors, by the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Titusville, do hereby proclaim September 2025 as National Service Dog Month in the city of Titusville, and I encourage all citizens to celebrate service dogs and be respectful of the rights to safe access in our community afforded to the adults, children, and veterans who lead more independent lives because of their assistance. Signed, Andrew Connors, Mayor.
City Manager.
Next item is 4D, the Economic Development Commission presentation. Linda Weatherman, Executive Director of Economic Development Commission, will present a briefing on EDC activities in North Brevard and options for continued economic development in Titusville.
Thank you very much. I don't know, some of you know my background. I first started my work here in Titusville years ago, so it's very good memories for me. But what I want to do tonight is I want to go through about 5 things, and I'll do it briefly, but with enough time to, so I give you the insight to where we're coming from. Talk about what the EDC is and the distinction between the zone and what the zone is. Talk about economic development activities that's occurring in Brevard and in Titusville and what I call greater Titusville. Then talk about the uniqueness of the zone and its competitive advantage, and then talk about the recommendations we have for the zone funding. First of all, the Economic Development Commission. Next, thank you. We're a public-private nonprofit. Our goal is, and while we have other programs, we're both mostly known for the recruitment, the retention, and the attraction of industry. And those industries are space, aerospace, defense, avionics, targeted industry list, which includes headquarters and medical supply companies, everything on a targeted industry list. Although we focus on that, our most successes, you can imagine, in space and defense. The zone, or the North Brevard Economic Development Zone, is different in that it is created by the Brevard County Commission, a special district, and its sole mission is to provide financial commitments or incentives to induce economic development projects in North Brevard. The EDC does not provide economic incentives. We sort of go out and get the projects and bring them here, and the zone is the one that provides. It's like a closing fund. Years ago, the state of Florida had an incentive, and they called it the closing fund, because when you're down to 2 or 3 other sites in different communities, they both would work. And sometimes that one extra thing that you have that helps close a deal. So it's basically, think of it as a closing fund as opposed to what we do and attract the companies and find them. EDC announcement, Titusville and greater Titusville area. I want to talk about what's happened in the last 10 years or so, what's going on. It's very exciting. I talk about Titusville, and so when I reference Titusville, you see it, that's within the city limits. But I also talk about the greater Titusville area, and I'm talking about outside the area, particularly out, on the inside of the gate of Kennedy Space Center. Because the reason I wanted to share that is this community, and Titusville especially, we were very concerned when we lost the 10,000 direct job loss due to the shuttle. So when we go to get jobs and we relocate them on the other side where the shuttle was, we should celebrate them and recognize that it is indeed a step towards mitigating those big challenges that we had too. So we want to make sure that we understand those. The second thing I want to do is quickly tell the story about how something in Brevard County that could probably not see it would be related to Titusville, something like the Naval Ordnance Test Unit, which is in the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, could have direct beneficial impacts to Titusville too. So if you indulge me a little bit about telling the story. I'll be quick with this one. What this is the story of how we've got the Fleet Ballistic Missile Headquarters here of Lockheed Martin and the Sunnyvale, and how it started because in 2005, the EDC led the effort to oversee the BRAC, the Base Realignment and Closure Committee, where the Department of Defense says, let's look at all these bases throughout the nation. Some of them we don't need, some need to be consolidated, some need to be closed. And in 2004 or 5, the Department of Defense said, we want to close the Naval Ordnance Test Unit, which is on the other Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, and we're going to send it to Kings Bay. The EDC although we were working on it before, we worked very hardly, went and showed the information, why we thought it wasn't a good thing. Let me explain really what the Naval No-2 does. It's where you're doing, they're not warheads, but they're missiles testing on submarines, Ohio-class submarines. So it's what we call the wet missile. They want to close that. Now, it would have been 200 jobs, about 1,000 contractors, but that was the bigger story to that. That would have been more concern because we want to build upon that. We reversed the BRAC, and we're very proud of that because if you look at all the BRACs in the last 20 years I've had, it's about less than 10%. But this is the story what became after that. Their contractor was Lockheed Martin, so we worked very closely with Lockheed Martin. Once we saved No-2 to bring the Lockheed Martin Post-Production Center of Excellence, then we worked with the Navy. The biggest one was 2012, which is a Strategic Weapons System Ashore. That's where the Navy's saying, look, we want to consolidate all these activities as they're tied to No-2. And then we started working with the contractor, Lockheed Martin. And it started in 2019, where we went out to Sunnyvale and we said, look, the critical mass is occurring here. Swiss Ashore, Strategic Weapons System Ashore is in here. We got the Post-Production Center of Excellence from NARC. We're getting the critical mass here. We think you should relocate your headquarters here. And lo and behold, in 2019, they did. Now, that's 300 jobs, I read it correctly, and it's going to be, it will be 1,000 jobs soon, and then I'll show you later the capital investment. Just like Lockheed Martin was tied to No-2 as a contractor, so was Draper. That's why Draper's here, because they're tied to Lockheed Martin. They're bringing the critical mass. And then what I call the expansion of the Fleet Ballistic Missile Headquarters in 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an 80-year program. This will be, your children's children will be around here as a result that this community did to bring the Fleet Ballistic Missile here. So let's talk about the Lockheed Martin, the next one, Fleet Ballistic Missile. This is a headquarters. We don't have many headquarters in Brevard County. And every time we get one, we should celebrate it. That means all the decisions made for this division will be made here. And many times decisions made about Brevard County are made somewhere else. California, Chicago, Colorado Springs, Denver. And here we have that. Not only that, but also brings in the marketing, legal, and all the administrative work tied to a headquarters deal. So this is the first one I talked about earlier, the first phase. $40 million, 350 new jobs. That will soon be 1,000 jobs. Next one. This is the expansion of that if you drive through, you're going to see the construction taking place. We'll talk a little bit about a tour later. And that's $140 million capital investment, 300 jobs, 100 military personnel. Next is Lockheed Martin's Star Center. I want to just indulge me if you can for a minute because it's such a wonderful story of what happened. If we remember when the shuttle was sunsetting and they were retiring the shuttle, we had the gap because the NASA had to decide what we want to do during that time and could not afford to do a new space vehicle and run the shuttle at the same time, so that was called the gap. During the time, NASA had what was looking to do a contract for the Crew Exploration Vehicle. This was the next generation, the CEV. What the EDC did with that is we went to both Lockheed Martin and Boeing, and we asked the question before it was even asked. We said, if you get this, where are you going to locate it? Well, they're not looking at that right now, but they're trying to win the contract. And we said the only elasticity you have in cost is site of location. Plus, we have 3 generations deep of people working in space with military specifications. Lo and behold, for that in, I think it was 2006 or 2007, forgive me, the years get together, Lockheed Martin that won the contract chose Titusville and the Kennedy Space Center as to locate it. And at the time, it was the first time in 50 years of history of space activity in the state of Florida, we brought launch activity and launch vehicle assembly. That's down the road, and we need to understand the significance of it, and I'm very proud of it, and that's happening right here in Titusville. Next, Boeing, out of Arlington, Virginia to Titusville, another headquartered company, 40 jobs, very critical. Next, Boeing Commercial Crew Program. This is the Boeing CST-100 Starliner for their commercial crew program, $163 million capital investment, 550 jobs at the Kennedy Space Center. Airbus Space and Defense, as we evolve the economic base of industry in Brevard County, the manufacture of satellites are taking place here. We didn't have that before in North Brevard. So now we're building the launch vehicles of more launch activity. Now we're building the payload here as well. And that's $80 million, $250 million, 250 new jobs. Another one, the Payload Integration Processing Facility for Project Kuiper and satellites, $120 million capital investment, 50 new jobs. And more satellite development taking place in integration. And the one we probably all recognize is Blue Origin. To date, $2 billion capital investment and 2,000 jobs. And this is the development of the New Glenn rocket. Another thing, and I'll be done soon, but another thing I'm talking about that's happening as we're building, as we have more launch activity, we're building launch vehicles, now we're building payloads that go on launch vehicles. The next step is the supply chain tied to that. Linde is an English company in MEMS. Layers is a French company in Industrial Park, and Space Forge is another company that's tied to that out of the Cape Canaveral. So we're seeing not just the complexion changing, but the supply chain being created, but they're also international tied to the Airbuses that are here and other companies like that. It's serendipity about 2 months ago, the next one, about 2 months ago, about 6 weeks ago, I was sort of like, God, I want to make sure we know what's happening here. We're organizing a tour. So what I want to do, we did just today got the date set from Lockheed Martin, September 25th. I sent an invitation out because let's see the things that we talked about. We'll go to the Star Center. We'll look at the Fleet Ballistic Missile. We'll go by Draper. And so you can, if you have time, you can go and see what we're talking about and and talk to the companies themselves. Ask them what they did to want to make that investment here. Now, City of Titusville Economic Development Zone. Next. In economic development, you have a term that we refer to as the competitive advantage. What advantage or asset that you have as a community that's going to make you more competitive for economic development? And this is, I believe, the zone funds is what sets you apart. Right now, in the state of Florida, there are no, outside of some job grants, growth grants you can compete for, there are no incentives. This is a proven track record. If you look at the history of the zones, it's the only incentive of its kind in Brevard County. This sets you apart. No other community has this. And it's the original intent, using the zone money that we had for North Brevard Economic Development Zone for the same application here. I suggest next steps are this, if I could. I would suggest to make this efficient and make it just as seamless as you can. Manage the program through the Titusville Chamber of Commerce. You could utilize the existing board structure. You could transfer the policies and procedures if you want. It's already in there. And it's an efficient, expeditious approach. You can start it tomorrow if you want to with a meeting with the Chamber of Commerce. So if I did my job right, I wanted to be quick and because we have a long day. The next one is basically the Economic Development Commission with the recruitment, retention, and expansion of the industries, along with the zone, which is your incentive, your competitive advantage. Nobody in the state of Florida has cash incentives like this, or some communities may or may do it on a piece-by-piece basis. But as the existing program, no, there's none in the state of Florida, and then we'll be able to compete and have more jobs in this area. So that's my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions you may ask. Did a lot. I think I did 20 years of work in 5 minutes, so excuse me.
Well, first of all, thank you, Miss Linda, for coming in here. I've been following your guys' work for a long time, and people do not realize that the work you guys did in 2005 set the stage.
Thank you, sir.
For a lot of the success we're seeing now, and so for that, I definitely thank you. Member Stokel?
Yes, thank you. It's always great to see an EDC presentation and get reminded of the great things that are happening in our county, especially in the north end. Okay, so question related to the EDC, what the EDC does exactly, and what municipalities in general are doing. So you mentioned that we're the only one that had the zone. Unfortunately, we no longer have it. Are other municipalities within Brevard doing any type of incentive when you're going out and trying to recruit and retain? What are you saying regarding Palm Bay or West Melbourne to try to get them to go potentially there as well?
We do have the ad valorem tax abatement, but that's not a
Okay,
cash incentive. That's not an investment. That's a tax abatement, if you will, based on the number of jobs and the capital investment. Edgar, anything else? And the AVT is in the county. Palm Bay has it. Titusville
We have it too. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. And who else? And Melbourne, forgive me. So I would say for incentive purposes, AVT exists right there. But again, what that is, and it's a great program, by the way, we're so grateful we have it, because again, the state of Florida doesn't have anything. And it is a dogfight. I mean, who would not want this story in their community? One of these. So that's what you have. But in regards to having an incentive, a cash where you could either pay for something, offset a cost or something, it doesn't exist.
Okay, and then I guess and you know better to the landscape, I think obviously it's better if we do have a cash, an incentive to offer. With the state coming down in Doge and us being a little bit more aware of how we're utilizing our funds, part of me is wondering if we were now to do something on our own or to set aside, what I don't want to have happen is we set aside, $500,000 or however much it is, and we just start giving out incentives to maybe projects that we're not really passionate about. That's not related to the industry and the things that you talked about. But we have it there, so might as well just use it versus us being really intentional and saying, what is the economic landscape currently? Does it make sense to start this right now, given the circumstances? Or do we just go with the tax abatement program and potentially use those resources elsewhere or to lower taxes for our residents? And
Councilwoman Stokel, that really is a decision of the city council as an economic development practitioner, trying to be as competitive as, this would help us to be competitive. That's what we suggest you do. You have very tough decisions. I would encourage, that's why, to make it as efficient as possible, we suggested to go through the Chamber of Commerce. There's no need to hire anybody else. They could do it in-house. And I've had a quick conversation with them and showed them I wouldn't bring this up without their awareness. If they're watching TV now, they would probably like it very much. And I showed them the presentation, the one-pager. So that's a decision. I always respect what you have to do. I would encourage you, if you do it, that's why it's led by a business organization, to focus on industrial recruitment if you decide to retain the zone.
Yeah, and maybe that's something we can consider and talk about if we are. It needs to be maybe potentially be focused specifically on a certain industry. Okay, regardless, you guys will still be out there for the whole county doing recruiting, retention, all that.
If I could, but the AVT does distinguish what companies can be used. So if there's a statute-driven issue of how you can use it, and if you want to use that as an application, those that are applicable to the Florida statute, I think 186.2, maybe that would help.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Stokel. Member Moscoso?
Thank you. That was a fire hose of information.
Well, thank you. I used to be a teacher, so I had to cram a lot of information in 40 minutes. So.
This is more of a comment, and maybe this will be something the council discusses, but you could still work with the chamber and the EDC if we just give the seed money, and then would we continue to fund this, or is that the question? Could you continue without having, I mean, maybe having that initial funding and then you just take it from there? Because your position is to attract the businesses.
Attract and expand. I'm sorry, I'm not clear. If it doesn't exist, we could still, we'll still work like hard, very hard to bring companies here. It just would, my point saying having a zone is a competitive advantage on your part.
Okay.
And you have many decisions. I understand I wouldn't, hard decisions to make. Looking at from the prism of economic development, this is the best thing you could do for it.
Okay. I have one more question. Since we have you here, I'm going to ask this is a little off topic, but with the SpaceX Starship Super Heavy project, can you tell us about what economic development that might bring in?
Well, there's jobs tied to it. I don't have the exact amount of job. That's something that we work with Space Florida very closely about. Space Florida sort of focuses on the hinterland of what's going on in space at Kennedy Space Center. I don't have a job number tied to that. Obviously, with the activity of all launch activities going from maybe 5 or 6 a year to soon 134, that has tremendous impact, economic impact in the area. I don't have the exact numbers on those. I apologize.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Member Moscoso. Member Nelson?
Hi. It's nice seeing you
Nice,
again.
Commissioner.
Thank you for the presentation.
Oh.
It helped. One of the things I was wondering about is we talked about having property that's pad ready.
Mm-hmm.
Can you expand on that?
Sure, I certainly can. I mean, that's one of our biggest challenges is having available buildings. Okay, we've been good. We didn't have a lot of buildings. Remember, we had an economic recession when this shuttle was happening. It also happened in the deepest, longest recession in the history of this country. Nobody was building buildings, so we quickly leapfrogged over our inventory right now. So the next best thing is having pad ready. Now, one thing about North Brevard is you have North American Properties, which is building that pad. That sets you, again, apart from other areas. But this money could also be used for investment into site readiness as well. So that would be a pad-ready thing. If you have a pad and you want to put some water or sewer lines into it, something like that, an egress turn, getting ready for more companies that are relocate, that's a very efficient use of funds, too. But that could be decided under the auspice of the zone as well, I believe.
Yeah. That just seemed very sensible to me.
Because it's a challenge we have. It's a
Yeah.
very serious challenge in whole of Brevard County.
So I'm going to ask you something totally unrelated.
Okay.
Can it? Nanobubbles.
Yes. Okay, nanobubble technology?
Yes.
Yes, there's a company that we've come to our attention, and I think it's, I don't know if it's going to be it's going to be brought up later on tonight. It's a company that has, and I'm speak on their behalf, but I think it's something that has talked to other individuals, and they are interested in looking into this area to apply their technology. And there's an opportunity to hear from this company. They're doing work all over the world, and I think it would be it would behoove us to just listen to this company's presentation and see what they have to offer.
I was going to wait and bring it up when Laura Lee came in.
Yeah, I think
Because
she's
I
coming.
was like, yeah,
Okay.
she's got a better science background.
Yes, absolutely. She's more efficient to talk about it, and I have more credibility in that case, too.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I don't even know what you guys were talking about, so, I'll be surprised down the road. But, I think it's important to note that 10, 15 years ago, our city had a $140,000 a year budget to mow the front lawns of abandoned homes. We're not that far removed, and we still got to work on it every single day when it comes to economic development. It's like exercise and eating right. You can't just wake up one day and say, oh, I'm going to get healthy and go to the gym and think you're going to knock it out. So we got to keep our foot on the pedal and keep moving forward. A good example of this is a company called Black Star Orbital, who recently won their first DoD contract, headquartered here in Titusville. They built their manufacturing plant in Arizona because we did not have the proper incentives, the proper tools to make sure that they built their however many $1 million building and the 60 plus jobs that they created here in town. So we really got to be critical about the investment we're going to make, and if there's concerns from council as to how it's administered, those are procedural things that we can work out. The question is are we going to invest in our future? And I really hope that we do. Thank you, Ms. Linda. Appreciate everything that you do. God bless you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, City Manager.
Sir, the next item is 4E, and that's the Fire Department hot car thermometer, and the fire department will provide a presentation on the hot car thermometer.
Let me make sure they know.
Okay.
All right. That's okay. It's fine. We're working on that. Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Carrie Lebeski. I'm with the Titusville Fire Department. I'm the Life Safety Specialist. And today I wanted to bring attention to the fact that our department has a long-standing child passenger safety program. We're proud to be the only fire department in North Brevard with 2 certified child passenger safety technicians on staff, myself and Inspector Kyle Mack. We offer free car seat checks and a reduced car seat program to our community. This year, we used some of the money in our restricted fund to purchase this visual display that powerfully reminds families of the serious danger of leaving children unattended in hot cars. In 2024 alone, our agency performed 24 seat checks and distributed 76 of the reduced car seats. During every single appointment, we take the time to educate the caregivers on how to prevent heat stroke and child deaths. The week of September 21st, we'll be working with other agencies to host car seat check events throughout the county. We'll be bringing this display to highlight the importance of never leaving a child in a vehicle. Our next step is to partner with local daycare centers and our elementary schools, placing this display in the car loops and sharing materials to help families understand the risks and the simple steps that can save lives. Now I'd like to show you a short video that demonstrates exactly how the display works and why it's important to our community.
Hey everybody, it's Carrie Lebeski with the Titusville Fire Department. I am here during the first day of pickup at Indian River Christian Academy. We have our new hot temperature display to remind family members to never leave a child in a car alone. Florida has the second highest rate of pediatric vehicular heat stroke in the country. July and August are our hottest months. Pediatric vehicular heat stroke and hot car child deaths are 100% preventable. It can happen to anyone. In just 30 minutes, a parked vehicle can reach dangerous levels. 80% of the total heat rise happens in that short time. Temperatures can soar to over 150 degrees. Our Never Leave Your Child Alone display helps us to show families just how dangerous it can be. 2 temperature sensors, one outside, one inside a parked vehicle, give a real-time side-by-side comparison. The result is a powerful visual, the outside temperature and the dangerous heat inside a vehicle parked in the very same environment.
So I'm very proud of the fact that, to my knowledge, we're the only agency in Brevard County that has this type of display. So it's a privilege, and I think it's going to be a great educational tool. Clearly, you can see that the cord won't reach the parking lot to put the sensor outside. But on that particular day, it was a very hot day. So does anybody have any questions?
Member Stokel?
Not a question. I just want to say I appreciate your passion, your excitement, seeing it here, seeing it in the video. And it's always nice to know we have several departments within the city, with your guys' department being one of them, that is always trying to be one step ahead, being proactive. Can we be the first? Recognizing what's happening with heat, recognizing how many pop-ups I get about somebody that a child was left in the car. So I just appreciate it, and it's great to see your passion for this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Stokel. And Ms. Carey, I'd be remiss if I did not thank you for everything that you do, or should I say, blaze.
Listen, that's a secret identity.
Yeah. So she actually, in hot days, dresses up as Blaze, is a dog,
The
right?
fire dog.
Yeah, the fire dog.
Yeah.
So again, passion,
Yes.
dedication, and I know, right? But again,
okay.
thank you so much
You're
for everything
very
that
welcome.
you do.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right, now, sorry, Chief, you got to move that thing again. City Manager.
Last item is petitions and requests.
All right, we're at petitions and requests from the public, non-agenda items. We're in our first special presentations meeting. So this is the last item for this meeting. You're not allowed to block people behind you.
I'm not allowed to use this.
Point of order, Mayor.
Yes,
I believe the signs are supposed to be in the back of the room.
I understand.
I don't know.
Mr. Johnson, you have the floor.
I have the floor. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. I'm Stan Johnston, and there's a book that's somebody I've heard about. I haven't read it. It's something that says something like, "All I know is what I learned in kindergarten," and this has a special effect upon me because I learned some things. I learned that water flows downhill, and I learned that feces, that's poop, is dirty diapers. And that was before I was even in the first grade. So the city of Titusville, I want you to learn some laws. And the one is that water flows downhill and poop is dirty. You have violated these laws. And these laws are actually, these are God's laws. These are engineering laws and God's laws that I use as a professional engineer. And the city of Titusville has, well, let's go into prayer. Okay, you don't have to bow your head, but here's what I'm praying, is that I pray that the city of Titusville will understand. We have 4 out of 5 council members who have approved the not turning their fountains off and spraying people with sewage, which is harmful to the public. And you've been very successful with that, beginning in July 2020. And also, the other law is that water flows downhill. In the city of Titusville, Lord have mercy, what they've done is city has put dams in the city and not even surveyed the lands that they've flooded. And they haven't done compensatory storage as required. And Lord, they haven't even contacted FEMA as required by law. So these people who are sitting before me have broken the law, maybe not except for maybe Moscoso over here, and it's a serious matter that is jeopardizing the safety, the health, and the welfare of the public here. So Lord, I just pray for changes to their hearts, changes to their logic, and that they obey God's laws. These are God's laws that we all need to respect. And in my profession, it's within my jurisdiction to tell you what you're doing is wrong. It's wrong, big time. So, Lord, we just pray for that. Any changes that come about that will be your God's will, and it's certainly not your will that we spray people with and harm them with sewage. It's not your will, Lord, it's against our Constitution, Lord, to flood people's property, not contact FEMA, and build these dams, which there's several in the city. Right now, Lord, we have a dysfunctional government, and we just pray. We pray for changes. And everyone says, amen.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. All right, we're still in the special presentations part of the meeting. Our regular city council meeting does start at 6:30. Anybody for petitions or request non-agenda items for this 5:30 meeting? Seeing none, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
We're adjourned. We will reconvene at 6:30 for our regular scheduled city council meeting.